Welcome to your Phil Steele Plus tour with selections. Another winner last week with the Cleveland Browns plus the points over Kansas City brings the record to 11-6. I've only been putting out one or two, so this is about a 7-week record here. But 11-6, pretty good. I'll have one playoff game for you, which I'll give to you. And as you can see on the screen, we are looking at two teams this weekend, the Green Bay Packers and Tampa Bay, and that will be the game of choice. Now, a couple notes for you. As always, I'd like to give you a little discount on things coming up. But I also like to show you how to use the thing. And I do want to remind you, the FCS is going to be playing spring football. I think this is fantastic for them. You could take a team like North Dakota State, which I'll line up here on the left, and we don't have their schedules in yet. But I just want to show you the depth of FCS information that we do have here. North Dakota State, of course, plays in the Missouri Valley Conference and have been dominant. Look at all the green there. They just win every year, almost. They lost to James Madison here. But we also give you coverage on teams like even Colgate. And the coverage dates you all the way back, color-coded red and green, all the way to 2010. And that, of course, takes you back, gives you the average game grades the last 2 years. We started putting these in, which I find extremely helpful. What you do against opponent averages, which is what we have on the main thing for the FBS, of course. And that's all in there on every team. Look at this. Did you know Colgate played North Dakota State in the playoffs back in 2018 and lost to them 35-0? We give you the individual player stats and broken down game by game. If you take a look here, you can see what Grant Brenneman did for Colgate in each of those games. If you're taking a look at the upcoming draft and you want to see how Trey Lance, the quarterback of North Dakota State, did, there it is. There's every game Trey Lance played 2 years ago, back in 19. You want to look at his 18 stats. As you can see, he was the backup to Easton Stick, but put up some pretty good numbers. But all that's available for the FCS. Color-coded green and red, just like the FBS. You guys all know the FBS, of course. When you go there, just a couple things to note. I don't know if you guys realize it, but Alabama won the national championship this year. You get the last 40 years' results all the way back to 1976 on every team, spread-wise. You can go right here. We've got the halftime since 2004. We've got the totals since 2003, and this is at your fingertips. You can look anything up on those teams dating back to, what year did I say it was? The first year was 1976. We've got spread results for. Start chart for this year, we'll have those updated for you soon. The individual player stats like we have for the college are right there. Last 20 years leaders are right there. We'll have 2020 updated in a few weeks. And the draft history taking you all the way back to the very first draft. You can see every single draft pick that was ever taken by any school. It's all at your fingertips. And, of course, color-coded green and red all the way down the page to 2012. And then, of course, there's the NFL. And let's take a look at the NFL. And for the NFL, we're going to line up on the left. I always like to put the visitor on the left. We'll put Tampa Bay. Here's Tampa Bay's logos and stuff like that. We'll put this here. And on the right, we're going to go to the NFL team page. And we're going to go to the Green Bay Packers. So go to Green Bay, put them on your right. And this is what we have for the matchup. Now, there's nothing that really jumps out at me. I know some of you may be concerned. Let's take a look at this game. Green Bay got blown out by Tampa Bay earlier in the year. Actually jumped out to a 10-0 lead. And then ended up getting beaten that game 38-10. Pretty much dominated. Our offense put up just 201 yards. But if that's a concern for you, remember that Tampa Bay had been beaten by New Orleans 34-23, and then got dominated by New Orleans, outgained 420-194. They got beat 38-3 in that game, minus 226 yards. So if you're looking at during the season games, Tampa didn't have a chance against New Orleans, did they? And guess what? They beat New Orleans 30-20, had the yardage edge in the game. Now, a couple things to point out. I like to play on home teams that, first of all, have rest. And you look at Green Bay, they played Chicago, then they had the bye week, which is always nice, get fresh and ready, and then they had a home game. Tampa Bay, meanwhile, was on the road at the end of the season against Washington. Then they had to play a road playoff game against New Orleans. Or no, they were on the road against Washington in the playoffs. So they won a playoff road game here. They had another playoff road game here, and now they're traveling again for another playoff road game. They did not have a bye after the season was over to get ready for the season. So factor that in, and it's a nice advantage for Green Bay to have. Another advantage for Green Bay to have that I like in this game is the cold weather. Tampa Bay, warm weather. Green Bay, cold weather. Used to playing in the cold. And how about Aaron Rodgers? This is another championship game for him. I believe it's his fourth. First one at home. So he gets a home championship game. All those are nice advantages for the Green Bay Packers. They play pretty well at home. You look at their home record here, plus 114 yards per game. And look at their wins. The number is 3.5. So you're wondering, is it going to be a close game? They have not had a game that they have won this year by less than 4 points. This Jacksonville game was the closest one all year. Every other victory they've had this year has been, it looks like, by 7+ points. So there has not been a close win for Green Bay. They've got some very nice advantages. Cold. They've got the home field. And by the way, since I believe it was 1980, home teams in this conference championship game are 55 and 25. So that's a nice record to have there. Or 55 and 15, I believe it is. Wait, 55 and 25, excuse me, straight up. So the home teams do well. Cold weather advantage. Rested team. Been at home the last 3 weeks. Tampa playing a third straight road game. And Green Bay playing with some legitimate revenge. A lot of folks say that they can't compete with Tampa because of this game. But once again, go back to Tampa and look at this New Orleans game. And when you look at our NFL pages, we take you back. And to give you 2019, 18, 17, all that. Of course, you get the individual player stats. Let's see what Aaron Rodgers did in that first game against Tampa Bay. You just click on the individual player stats. There it is right there, 16 to 35. He struggled. He's going to want to have a big game here. So I just think the Packers, much like Tampa, turned it around here with a great situational edge. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers. And just a quick note for you here. The Phil Steele magazine, if you take a look at this, if you go to the let's go to my Twitter real quick and take a look at this. If you saw this last week, you saw this already. Conference prediction accuracy. If you see that we topped the list by a wide margin this year. We're further ahead of the number 2 team than the number 2 magazine. Then the number 2 magazine was ahead of the last place one. So we really had a great season. Championship-wise with the magazine this year, most accurate magazine once again. And if you want to get one magazine this year, the Phil Steele Preview, you can save $3 right now. Just enter in the code word SINGLE21. And once again, for this, just go to the Phil Steele store. And when you go to the Phil Steele store, which is right over here on the left, store, there it is. Click on the store. Go to the magazines, which are down here. If you click on the college football preview, type in the code word SINGLE21, you save $3. Type in the code word on the double, is double21, you save $6. And if you want this year's college football preview, if you didn't get one because you didn't think there was going to be a football season, and you still want to get one, $10. Put in number 1 title. We won the title for most accurate by far this year. These coupon codes do expire on Tuesday, 1/26. They're all available here. Here's the single, there's the double, and then if you want this year's issue, you just come up here and click on back issues, and that takes you right there to the 2020 magazine. And when you click on the magazine, the one thing you'll note here with the magazine this year is that this saying at the lower right-hand corner, most accurate over the last 22 years, guess what? Making most accurate over the last 23 years, and we did it by far this year. So there you go. Gave you a free play for this week. Gave you some discounts on the magazine. I appreciate you joining me for the Phil Steele Plus Tour. It's a nice 11-6 run. Let's hope it's 12-6 after this week. I'm probably going to take next week off because there is no playoff games. So I'll be back with you. I'll have a Super Bowl edition, and then I'll be rolling along with you with the FCS, by the way. When the FCS starts heating up, when we start getting schedules, we'll be posting them on philsteele.com at Phil Steele Plus. We'll have you covered for the FCS season. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll be back with you in 2 weeks.